Hello, everyone. This is Stacy. Welcome to the landing. Hello, and welcome back to the landing. Today we have a guest who knows a thing or two about passion, dedication, and love of a game. Joining us is Mr. Alton Paul, a true baseball enthusiast who has spent a lifetime immersed in America's favorite pastime. Whether it's playing, coaching, or cheering beside his radio, baseball has been a central thread in Mr. Alton's journey. We will talk about where that love for the sport began, the lessons he has learned along the way, and, of course, a few unforgettable moments from the diamond. So grab a seat and settle in. Let's step up to the plate with Mr. Alton Paul. Hello, and welcome back to the landing. We are very excited today about the guest that we have. I have heard of this young man for a long time. I went to school with some of his kids, and I just am tickled that he agreed to join us today. But I'm going to let him introduce himself. So if you will, tell us who you are, what's your name, who's your crowd, where you're from.
I'm Alton Paul. I was born in 1935, so that'll tell you that I'm an old timer. And born in Davis, and went to school to Smyrna, and my children went to East Garden.
Right.
So that's about who I am. Been a follower in baseball since about 1941.
Oh, wow.
I had just got old enough to go to school, and we listened to the radio them days, and baseball was it.
Oh, I love it.
And you want me to keep on?
Yeah, look, this is your time, and I would just tell everybody we're going to be entertained and enlightened by some of Alton's baseball knowledge, because as you just heard, he has been following baseball basically all his life. So yes, anything you have to share, please do, and I will nudge you on if I need to.
Well, not too much about myself, but let me tell you this. In the late 30s, we had a player from Davis and one from Marshallburg that were playing baseball with Atlantic. And some people from Mount Airy came there, and the man and his wife, when they went back to Mount Airy, they told the head of the baseball world there that they had seen two baseball players that they needed to get up with. And so they came to Atlantic the next weekend, and one of the players was from Davis and the other from Marshallburg. Claude Brown, he was from Marshallburg, and Lester Babbitt. So they saw him play, and they wanted to come and they give him a tryout.
Wow.
So they went and tried out, and Lester, he got homesick and came home. But Claude played the 1938 season in Mount Airy. That was professional baseball then.
Wow.
The Coastal Plain League.
Oh my goodness.
And later on, Claude played that year, and they didn't make any money much then. So he didn't go back and decided he could make more money on a shrimp boat.
On the water, right?
So anyway, they had good years. And then in 1946, after the war, there was a boy from Davis, played baseball in Radford, Virginia, professionally, Elvin Davis. And a guy that played with Chicago Cubs in the 30s and then went on in the military, which all of them did. He told me that he played with the Cubs and he came back to the county after the war, to Carter County.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that Elvin Davis had the best throwing arm any player he ever saw anywhere.
How about that?
Yeah.
Oh my, that's cool.
So that was way back.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that when you were young, you would listen to baseball on the radio.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, because like the youth hearing that today, that's very foreign to them.
Yeah, I still do it.
Do you? That was
Yeah, I
my
do.
question.
I listen to everything baseball on the radio, but I can't get the stations like I could then.
Oh, really?
You would think they'd be better now,
Yeah.
but I wound up being a Cleveland Indian fan. Ronald Davis and me.
Ronald Davis. Yep, he's family.
Yeah,
All right, so Cleveland Indians was your team.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this pitcher. Did I say Bob Feller?
Nope.
He was it then. He was probably the best pitcher in baseball.
Bob Feller?
Yeah,
Oh,
Feller.
okay.
And by the way, I met him in Kinston when they were the Kinston Indians.
Yeah.
I don't know, years after that. He was, 75 years old then, I guess.
And he came to a game?
He came to a game in Kinston promoting the Indians.
Right.
And I had a talk with him then.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
my
was
goodness.
that was good.
I miss the Kinston Indians. Okay, so tell us what it would be like. Would the games come on the radio once a week when you were a kid, or was it
Yeah, mostly we heard them. Well, we could hear them nights.
Mm-hmm.
The airwaves was cleaner or something, I guess, at night, and you could hear them good.
Uh-huh.
In daytime, we couldn't get them too good, but night games I could get more of.
I could just imagine would it be a bunch of boys sitting around, or would it
Sometimes, yeah.
would have your team playing?
And my daddy too, he'd listen to them. He'd always listen to ball games on the radio.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was different, but I still do it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and it got you imagining what was going on and hearing the sounds and
Yeah. The announcers were good, but Cleveland had a radio station then, WGAR, and it was 100,000 watt.
Oh, wow.
I think that's right. Mm-hmm. And I guess they got a limit on that now. They can't have it that good.
Yeah.
And I can still get a Cleveland station, but not good like I could then.
Mm-hmm. So are this is proven that I have never done that. Are all the games on radio now, or are they? I know they come on TV.
Yeah, I think so. I think
yeah?
they broadcast all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you had your rathers, you would prefer to listen than to watch it on TV.
Oh yeah, I'd rather listen to it than watch it on television.
I love that. I love it. What are some games that you remember listening to as a kid?
Oh yeah, I listened to the 1944 World Series, all St. Louis, the Cardinals and the Browns. Wow. And the Browns had a right fielder that only had one arm.
Really?
His last name was Gray, but I cannot remember his first name right now.
Do you remember who won?
The St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series.
Won the series. Gotcha. When you're telling me these years, you've heard some wonderful baseball players' names through those radio stations. What are some names of the biggest players that you remember?
Well, Stan Musial, Ted Williams. I remember when Jackie Robinson broke in baseball.
Yeah.
In 1947. And the Indians had a black player that broke in 1948. And they played in the World Series that year and won it.
And
played
won
the Boston Braves.
Oh, wow.
They won the World Series in 48. And they haven't won one since.
But you heard it when they did.
I did.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, some of those names that you just said.
And the other ones were Dizzy Dean. You've heard of him.
Yes, I have. Yep. Who is your favorite baseball player?
My favorite of all time,
Of
you
all
mean?
time.
Well, I think Babe Ruth would have had to be everybody's. He was one of a kind, and I wasn't a Yankee fan. But he was
He could hit it, couldn't
just, yeah, but he was a personality. There
Yeah.
wasn't never one more like him.
he? Yeah. When the games would come through the radio like that, would they interview the players like before or after the game?
Not that much.
So it was
But
basically
yeah,
the
it
game.
was just.
Not as commercialized as it is
And then
now.
Bob Uecker got in the mix, and he put a little color in the game,
Yes.
broadcasting.
Yes. Very, very much so. Yeah. So did you collect baseball cards?
Yeah, a few, but they were hard for me to get. You had to buy some
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
baseball cards.
I remember Daddy saying when he was little, when he could get his hands on some baseball cards, he would play with them, like put the
Right.
players in the positions and play the game, and it's a big deal.
And then when it got up in the late 40s, it was the Yankees and the Dodgers. And then Willie Mays come on the scene in 51. And that was the year of Bobby Thompson hit the magical home run.
Oh yeah,
You never heard of that?
no, not really. What was
The
that?
Giants and the Dodgers finished the season tied, and they were playing a playoff game. And the Dodgers was ahead of the Giants. I think it was 5-3 going into the last inning. And Giants got a couple men on base. It must have been 5. Was it 5-4? I think it was 5-3. Got a couple men on base, and Bobby Thompson come to the bat and hit a home run. That was a shot heard around the world.
Oh my
And
goodness!
the Giants went to the World Series.
Oh, how exciting! Were you listening when that happened?
I was in school, and we were the teacher let us listen to it in school, and we had to come home. And I just threw my books on the porch, and Daddy had the radio in the house, and I just got there time enough to hear that home run.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! How exciting! Wow! So a walk off
Yeah,
to win.
it was.
Wow! And you were there. You were there. You
Yeah.
heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 51,
Uh-huh.
and then Willie Mays and Hank Aaron and a bunch of other players come on the scene in the 50s. Joe DiMaggio, he was already there in the 50s, but he wound up his career in the 50s.
Wow. It's saying a lot that a lot of these names that you are naming over, I recognize. I mean, these are like big
Yeah,
names that
they were
you,
stars.
they were stars and you experienced it with them. That's really cool. Very neat. Did you play baseball?
I did. I played high school baseball and played after high school in the county leagues and all that. In fact, I played till I was 45.
Oh, yeah?
When you remember when the Eastern Blues started up,
Yes.
well, there was a bunch of wee older fellas that wanted to play baseball, but we were old and slow. We couldn't play with them, so we started the team. And it wound up starting a whole league.
Oh, wow.
And we were the Eastern Grays.
I remember that. What year was that?
That was started, I think, in 1975.
Okay. Yep, I remember hearing
And
about that.
we were old. You know Snowball Gaskell.
Yeah.
He was older than me. He was on that team. Dallas Arthur.
Yes.
You remember him?
Yeah.
This is not Dallas Wayne Arthur. This is his daddy.
His daddy.
Dallas
Right.
Arthur.
Uh-huh.
And then we had a couple young fellows played with us. Jim Lewis and Eric Williams. You don't remember them.
Don't know them. Mm-mm. Yep.
And let's see, Snowball and Dallas and Osmer Davis. That was Pam's daddy.
Yes, Pam's daddy. Yeah.
We were first cousins.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We grew up together like brothers. Only a month difference in our age.
Oh, wow. Well, you were brothers then, basically, huh?
So we played in that 3 or 4 years, and it kind of folded.
Mm-hmm. How many teams were in the league?
To start with, Cedar Island, Stacy and Sea Level had a team together. Smyrna, Beaufort, Broad Creek, Sauerpath.
Wow. So the whole county.
Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm. That had to be fun.
pretty good league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so y'all played baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I know. I've seen the picture of Snowball with the Eastern Grays. That there's a group picture
Right.
of y'all.
Yeah.
And I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Daddy played softball in the men's league
Yeah.
with the Hawks, and him and Reinald and
Yeah, he
all
was
of them.
he was quite a baseball player in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard stories.
Yeah, he could run one down center field.
He was quick as
Good
lightning.
ball player.
Yeah. So what position did you play?
Second base.
Second base. Okay. Do you remember your number? Did you always have that same number? Or
No, I had when I played with the Grays, I had the number 4, but I didn't have that all through. I think our high school uniforms was hand-me-downs, didn't have numbers on them.
Oh, that's funny. Now, have you coached also?
Yeah, I've been coaching since I was in the 7th grade.
Oh my! Since 7th grade.
Yeah.
How did you get finagled into that?
Well, we all the 6th and 7th and 8th grade had teams.
Mm-hmm.
And we play one inning lunchtime. We get about an inning in, and I was the one that made up the lineups and did all that stuff for that.
Uh-huh.
And then after high school, I started coaching a Little League team, and there wasn't a Little League around, but we created the team, and other teams started getting teams, Atlantic, and
Uh-huh.
played some black boys up North River and Beaufort, and we traveled around over here. We played over here, and had a good team.
Yeah.
Very seldom ever lost one.
I love it. I love it. So where was the ball field?
Right beside the church, between where the church, Baptist church is, when you turn down Community Road,
Yeah.
and where James Starnes' house, there was a field out there,
Yeah.
and we played baseball with the Little League.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And you may have heard these names that was on it, because everybody that is age, Bryson Piner, Carl Hill,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Grady Davis,
Yes.
they were all playing on that.
Yeah.
Chuck Lewis, you've heard of him.
Oh,
He's
yes.
He's started for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So then they started a Little League in the 70s. I think that was 75 that started that. And I coached the Davis Williston Smyrna team for about 10 years. And then I went out to East Carteret and helped Chuck for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And then I come back and coached the Down East Middle School for 2 years. And then I went back to the Little League and coached them for 3 or 4 more years.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, I coached baseball for 30 years all told, or more.
Long, long time. Yes. Did you, I'm sure you probably did you coach any of your children?
Yeah, I coached Charlie.
Charlie, how was that?
I tried not to show any favoritism. He didn't play when he was 9, 10. His mama used to get on me about it, but I said, he'll play. And he did. And he played out at East Carteret.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember him playing at East Carteret. Yeah, a lot of times when dads coach children, Moms too. You do try not to show favoritism, and sometimes it's a little bit tougher for those kids because of that.
It is when you get home.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. My husband, he coached both of my kids, my son in baseball, daughter in softball. And we would replay all the games on the ride home, and we had to go through everything. It's like, yeah. But if it was a good game, it was fine. So, what are some memories that you have through coaching or playing? Have you had players that you keep in touch with that went on to play collegiate ball or?
I kept up with, of course, the ones on Davis, Carroll, Braxton, Elhon Willis, and Harry Willis. Had a bunch of Willises, and all those. Kept up with them all through their life. And Chuck Lewis, he moved to Beaufort on me, but
Yeah.
we were still good friends. And yeah, I kept up with
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of them
neat.
pretty good.
Because that's a special relationship between the coach and player.
Yeah.
You're teaching them more than baseball on that baseball field.
And yeah, and then we had one over Smyrna, Mike Walden. I don't know if you ever know him. He was, I kind of kept up with him. And there was quite a few of them I kept run of.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so good. What kinds of lessons have you learned from baseball? Because baseball's been a huge part of your life. But what kind of life lessons have you learned from baseball?
Don't get too high when you win and not too low when you lose. You got to have a happy medium there. Although I take losing harder than I should.
Were you a sore loser?
No, but it kind of bothered me a little bit. You've heard the saying, when you find a good loser, you find one, a loser.
I've never heard that saying. Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. That's true. It's got to affect you some. Do you think it taught you patience?
Oh, well, yeah, sure. You had to have a lot of patience.
Especially coaching that little league
And you
age.
have to have a lot of discipline. You can't let them be running around in the dugout, doing everything, all hollering, screaming, doing what they do at that age.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sitting and watching.
Sitting and watching
learning.
and learning. That's right. Yeah. What was the hardest thing to teach them? What skill? Was it hitting, throwing, base
Well, I
running?
don't really think you teach them them skills. You may hone them a little bit, but you
Okay.
don't teach them.
Okay, and
They
why?
got it. They got it or they don't. But you can help them along some. And I never was very good at that. I let them go with how they stood in the box and how they held the bats, and I didn't mess with that much.
Yeah.
That was the natural thing. So
Yeah.
it would later on come around to them the way they were supposed to be.
What felt right?
Yeah.
Well, when you think about even the old timers that you were talking about that you listen to on the radio, when you see film and stuff of them hitting now and doing, they do such things that were unorthodox. Like now they would say, you're not supposed to do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Look at even Babe Ruth. Can you imagine telling them to change their swing or to change their stance?
Yeah, that stuff don't always work, changing.
No, it can hinder more than help sometimes.
We used to study the Charlie Lau hitting styles and all that. They'll work for certain players and others they won't. So
Yep, that's right. Do you agree when you think about baseball? I know you've heard this through the years that baseball is a mental game. It's like, it's a mindset. Do you agree with that?
yeah, somewhat. but you can have all the mindset you want. If you can't hit
You
it,
still got to have those fundamentals.
you got to have it.
Yeah, that's right. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
Some things that I can't remember. I had a cousin tell me that the first baseball game played in Carteret County was played on the Davis Ridge.
Really? Huh. Do you know about when that was?
No, it was in 1800.
Yeah, had to be a long, long time ago.
But there was some people from New York had bought the Ridge, and they bought a crowd of baseball players down, and they wanted to play, so they went to Davis and got a team of people that went over there and played them. And that was supposed to be the first game ever played in the county.
Oh my goodness. That's interesting.
And I heard somebody else say this, Jimmy Parker from Moorhead told me the best baseball game ever played in North Carolina was played at Davis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What game was that?
That was in 1946, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben Wade, who was pitching for the Dodgers at the time, pitched for Moorhead. And Bob Porterfield pitched for Davis. I remember the game. I was there, saw it.
Wow.
And it was a 3-2 game, and Moorhead won it. Mm-hmm. But that was, Bob Porterfield was a Yankee, or he was really a Washington senator at the time, but he was traded to the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
He had, this guy I told you, Elwin Davis, he had played with him in Radford, Virginia. And he came to see Elwin, and Elwin got him to pitch that day. And Ben Wade was on, I don't know, in between pitches or whenever he was pitching for the Dodgers, and he pitched for Moorhead.
Oh my goodness. And that happened?
And not many people know that now.
No.
Not a whole lot.
I'm sure not. And so that happened in Davis?
Happened in Davis.
That's amazing.
And Jimmy Parker said it was the best ball game. He was bat boy for Moorhead then. Uh-huh. And he's since died, but I was talking to him at a funeral in Moorhead. And baseball come up,
Baseball come up, of course, right? But you were at that game.
I was at that game, sure was.
Do you still enjoy attending games? Do you go like to school games or
I got
rec
a high
games?
school game ever so often. But they got playing so many night games now, I don't like get home that late.
Yeah, I know. I know now when they put lights on the fields, it changed things, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah. Well, anything else that comes to mind?
I got the wheels turning.
I love it. Let me ask you one more question.
Okay.
What advice would you give to a young baseball player who is dreaming big? What's your advice to that kid?
Play every day.
Gotta play, gotta practice, gotta put in the time.
Play every day. We used to roll them on the house when we were by ourselves and catch them when they rolled off. We throwed baseball every day. My cousin Osborne, I called him Oz.
Yeah.
We threw the baseball every day.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's weather, in the summertime, not year round, but bad on arms in cold weather.
Right. Do you have any baseball memorabilia now?
Nah. I cut some clippings out and had them saved. Becky found them this week, and I carried them to, most of them was about Braxton Piner.
Uh-huh.
And I carried them to her, and she was going to let her grandchildren read them.
Yeah. Oh, that's so neat. Yeah.
I've been told, I'm not sure of this, that there was a high school in Davis in 25 and 26.
Okay.
And they had a baseball team. And some players from Stacy went to school to Davis, I guess so they could play baseball.
Yeah.
And I've never heard but this one person say that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of my cousins. And he did a lot of genealogy and all that stuff, and he had tracked that stuff down.
Wow, that's interesting. So, do you know anything like where the high school was, or?
It was where the school was in Davis when I started
Oh, right. Okay,
grammar
so
school
that
there.
same, yeah.
Yeah, same location.
And they had a baseball team. Huh.
I don't know how you'd ever find that out
I
for
don't know,
sure,
but we can try. I know that's what Daddy sometimes I'll ask him about things, and he'll tell me an answer, and then he'll say, "Now go prove me wrong." He's
prove it wrong.
There's very few people, he says, that remember further.
But they was kind of a special team in Smyrna that Braxton, I was telling you about Dale Lewis
Yes.
from here,
Yes.
and Janice Jones. Let's see, Kurt Nelson.
Oh yeah.
He was on that team, and James Mears and Vaughn Yeomans. I could name a whole bunch of them. It was
Name away.
and let's see, but that was kind of a special team. They were a little better than most.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's gonna happen when the group got a lot of good players and they click. Yeah.
And they had a coach come in, and they had missed being coached for a long time. Jimmy Parkins, you heard of him?
Oh yes.
Wayne knew about him.
Yeah. So he was their coach.
Yeah, he was our baseball coach.
Yeah. Oh, that matters. It really does matter.
And I helped him with that team. I coached third base for him for what time? I went there to practice, high school practice.
Oh wow, how fun! How fun! I remember in Smyrna when they finally put a baseball field there in Smyrna.
Eastern Park.
Eastern Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a long time they didn't have one there. It was across from the
Across from school.
Yeah.
Which the one across from school was the best time.
Well, I remember when they quit playing baseball there, how mad everybody was, disappointed.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that was a nice field and good memories there. But when they started playing at Eastern Park, it was easier to get to the games as far as we were, because we played softball. So we would be there with them and could cheer them on. And
yeah, we built that park now. The county didn't build that.
Who is we? Who built it?
Crawford Pickett, Mac Pickett, Wilson Davis. You've heard all them names.
Oh, yes.
We had a boy to Davis, Jimmy Lewis. Did you know him?
I know of him.
Killed in the car.
Yeah.
And Osborne Davis, he drew the plans, and we built it. Wow. And now they done a lot to it since.
Yeah.
We had the big baseball field and the little league field. And we had a shrimp dinner to Davis, and we put the fence around the little league field. The county didn't do it. Wow. And we had, when we started though, we had a big ditch run right down the middle of it. Filled that in and smoothed it all off, and worked up there a long time. A lot of Kenny Lewis, he was in on that. And a lot of help out of the community.
Yeah, sounds like it. Wow.
Yeah.
And see, I was just a kid, so I was just seeing it happen. Didn't know who was what, but it makes sense that the community did it.
That was That was around 1975.
Yeah. I remember going there when I was little, watching my sisters play softball. They played softball on Carroll Hill's softball team because, he had the girls' daughters, and so he played. And I remember their team name was Them, THEM, Them. And I'd go, and I just couldn't wait until I was old enough to play. And then I finally got old enough to play.
Yeah.
And then I kept playing on through, I played some women's league softball out there. But it was a lot of good memories.
Good time, huh?
A good time. I miss it. But it's nice. It's nice out there now where they've built behind the tennis courts now. None of that was there when I was growing up.
But baseball's always been big down east.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my daddy played.
Yeah.
They had teams.
Mm-hmm.
No leagues, but they had teams.
Yeah. Would the communities play each other
Communities play each other.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, I have thoroughly enjoyed meeting you and talking with you. And I bet you could still keep talking and telling us some things.
Well, you get old, you don't remember everything. And
it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, and I know everybody's going to enjoy hearing your stories and your memories, and so thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us again to The Landing. This podcast is brought to you by the Coarse Sound Waterfowl Museum and Heritage Center. I am your host, Stacy Davis Basden, and today's podcast was produced by April Davidson. Tune in again next week as we continue remembering, sharing, and learning together. Until then, stay safe and be kind.